This is in continuation of my previous video where we discussed a single period, multi-period, two-period holding equity, and then we valued the shares. And now we have few miscellaneous problems to learn on these concepts to make you the concept more clear where it is practically applicable and how to use it. See students, the first problem goes like this. A company decides that it will not pay dividend for 20 years. That means the company is following no dividend policy. All 20 years company is not paying dividend. Then what is it doing? It is retaining all this money in the form of retained earnings for its growth. So that is why it has decided not to pay dividends. After that, it is expected that the company will pay dividend of rupees 15 per share perpetually. After 20 years, we don't know till when. For indefinite period, company will pay how much? 15 per share. Perpetually means never ending. We don't know till where. Indefinite period it is. After 15 years, till the indefinite period, dividend continues to be rupees 15. However, the company at present can pay dividend of rupees 3 per share. See, don't club this with this. This part is one question you need to solve. This is the another part. Here it says for 20 years no dividend. Later it is 15 rupees for indefinite period. Whereas this is the different question. Second question. However, the company at present can pay a dividend of rupees 3 per share. The another option which company has is now it can pay rupees 3 constantly. That means continuously. If KE is 10%, determine the share price under both situations and state what is loss per share to the investor as a result of this policy. Please remember there are two options for the company. What is being given to you is like this. Option 1, for 20 years no dividend will be paid, and later it is rupees 15 for indefinite period or perpetually. Whereas the second option which you have is where the company at present pays can pay a dividend of rupees 3 per share. At present it can pay rupees 3 per share where KE is 10%. Now when you have these situations, what is the share price under each? If company follows this option, what is the share price? Or if company goes with the second option, what is the share price? And either of these, how it will impact your shareholders with profit or loss is what you need to find out. How do we find out? When company pays no dividend for 20 years and then when it pays a dividend, as you can see, dividend will be paid at the end of 21st year. 20 years no dividend, so therefore we can find out price at the end of 20th year. Till then no dividend is paid, therefore we are not valuing. So dividend is paid at the end of 21st year, which is D21, and it is paid for indefinite period, therefore it will be directly KE. So which is 15 divided by 0.10. 150 is the share worth. I hope you have followed it. It is P20. The reason being we can find out the value of share at the end of 20th year when dividend will be declared in the next year, 21st year, divided by the cost. So the share price is 120. Now look at the next option. The company wants to pay rupees 3 for indefinite period. And if the company is willing to pay 3 rupees, then it will be P0 equals to D1 divided by K. If something is perpetual, then directly we write divided by K, whatever is given. So therefore 3 divided by 0.10, which is equal to 30. Now students, in this case, the price what you have calculated is not P0, whereas in the second case it is P0, because at the end of year 1 you are getting dividend at 10%, where we got P0 is equal to 30. Here it is P20. So from P20 we need to bring it to its present worth. So which will be equals to P0 equals 150 into present value factor at the end of 20th year at 10%. I hope you know how to calculate it, which is 1 divided by 1.0 equals find out the value of that for the 20th year, which will be 150 into 0.1486, and the value will be P0 is 22.29. Now students, we saw in the first case price worth will be 22.29. In the second case price worth is 30. We need to find out the loss per share. How to find out loss per share? If company follows the first option, not to pay dividend for 20 years and then pay, investors will lose 30 minus 22.29, which is 7.71. So this is how loss per share is calculated. I hope you have followed this. Now let's move on to the next question. The book value per share of a company is 145.50 and the rate of return on equity is 10%. The company follows a policy of 60% dividend payout. Find P0 if capitalization rate is 12% after determining dividend growth rate. Girls, here the variables given are book value of the share 145.5, and then the rate of return on equity is 10%. The company follows dividend payout of 60%. Your DPO is 60% of the total earnings. Find PO if the capitalization rate is 12% after determining dividend growth rate. You need to calculate your dividend growth rate in this problem. Now, how is it solved? Already you have ready reckoner solution with you. You can check with that. EPS is equal to book value per share into rate of return on equity. Here equity directly they have not given us the earnings. So to find out the EPS, to find out DPS we need to have EPS. I'll tell you, wait, you might get confused. See students, it is like this. Whatever earnings you would have got, we always bifurcate it into your retained earnings and the dividends. So here in this problem, earnings of the company is not directly given to you. To find out the dividend and then the present worth of the share, therefore we have used another formula where EPS is equal to book value per share plus what is the return you are expecting on the share. So here, which is 145.50 into 0.10, EPS we got it 114.55. Now from this we need to calculate DPS. When EPS is 14.55 and dividend payout is 60%, so your DPS will be 60% into 14.55, which is 8.73. Please remember, from the total 100%, 60% is your dividend. It means that remaining 40% will be your retained earnings. Nothing but this is your retention of profits from your earnings. Now to calculate your dividend growth rate, at what rate your dividends are growing, please remember whatever money you are retaining in the business, on that you earn profits later, correct? That these retained earnings will be reinvested in the business, and then you are earning growth on your returns. So therefore your dividend growth rate will be rate of return on equity into retention ratio. What is the rate of return on equity? It is mentioned in the problem, it is 10%. Rate of return on equity is 10%. Your rate of return is 10% into 40% is the retention ratio. Therefore, dividends are growing every year at 4%. Now to calculate your price of the share when growth rate is given, as you all know, formula is D1 divided by KE minus D. D1 is 8.73 divided by KE, cost of equity. Where is it? Find PO if the capitalization rate is 12%. Don't take return on equity. This return on equity is the return company is able to generate on the funds raised from equity shares. Whereas the capitalization rate, the cost of raising your equity is 12%. So investors are expecting around 12%. D1 divided by KE minus G. So D1 is 8.73 divided by 0.12 is the equity rate minus growth rate 0.04, which is 199.125. Now after that you have a problem. The equity share has a current value of 80. It is expected that the company will pay 4 rupees dividend per share at the end of year 1, and the share price can be sold at